Up. Wow.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Thank you. Is it just us?
Yeah.
Just the few of us?
All right. Is this working?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, well, I had it turned on before. All right. Before we start the meeting, I want to mention a couple of words. I think you're all aware of the tragedy that has fallen on our family. We do have a couple of consolations, though, in this very, very difficult time for us. The one is the beautiful memories we have of our lovely daughter, Kim. And Kim was a real piece of work. She was an avid environmentalist. She worked in alternative energy all her life. She lived in probably 15 different places all throughout the United States. And just to give you an idea, she lived off the grid for a year and a half in a school bus in the mountains in Colorado, rigged up her own heating system and shower system, and insulated the bus with pizza boxes. So needless to say, we're going to have a lifetime of talking about Kim and some of the things that she got into. Mostly, she was just a very, very loving person. The second consolation we have is that we've lived in this community a long time, and we have a lot of friends and family here and all over the United States. And what we were amazed at is the outpourings of love, concern, and care that came from the community. And this has certainly given us a degree of comfort in these very, very difficult times. The community has sent out messages, gifts, emails, cards, and we also received a very lovely flower arrangement from the Environmental Council, and we thank you very much. So again, I want to thank you. And now I think we're going to get on with the meeting. This officially opens the EAC meeting of January 9th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the review and approval of the December 12th, 2024 meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the meetings and review them?
Yes.
Okay. So unless there's any changes, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All in favor. So the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the election of officers for 2025. We're talking about the chairman and we're talking about the vice chairman. Do we have any nominations for these positions?
I nominate Jim Bray for chair and Alan Dresser for vice chair. And I'm Paul Roden, a member of the EAC.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Okay. And that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pardon?
Don't we need 4?
We have 5.
Don't count me.
We have 5. We only need 4.
No, but it has to be 4.
Yeah, we have 5.
Right, but you can't, I guess,
Yeah,
you can't
all right.
vote on yourself?
Pardon?
Is that what your point is?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's right.
I mean,
You know, if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, who does, you know?
Vote for themselves all the time. I mean, I'm sure Trump voted for himself.
That's right. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a positive self-image, something like that. Anyway. Okay, so be it. The next item on the agenda is the 2024 Long Range Master Tree Plan, fall planning update and spring planning. So I can give you a little information on that, but not everything. I've been talking to Jim Majewski about the fall plantings that took place about a month or so ago, month and a half ago in Lower Makefield Township, and he hasn't recorded them all yet. So what I'm going to be doing with Jim next week is I'm going to be asking for the specific bills that were sent by the contractors. We have in a long-range plan 1,500 trees that are going to be planted. And in the prior planning that ended in 2023, we had some records, but they were kind of scattered. So being somewhat obsessive compulsive, I think we ought to do a better job with the 2024 planning. So what I plan on doing is literally on a per species and per tree basis, listing exactly where they're going to be planted. Now, we have a plan that encompasses about 39 public locations in Lower Makefield for these trees. However, once you have a plan, then immediately what you do is you start changing the plan. So in the initial planning, we were supposed to put maybe about 80, 60 or 70 trees at the golf course. I think they put over 100. And the same thing with, I guess, the Makefield, the park, wasn't it, Alan? I think Macclesfield,
Yeah.
Macclesfield, and then also the Memorial Park. So anyway, I'm going to be getting that information from Jim very shortly. And then probably at the end of this month or early February, we're going to be meeting with Jim about the February plantings.
Not February.
Well, in February, we're going to meet to talk about the spring plantings. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. So Jim is of the opinion that he would like to get people in the township involved in the process too. And that's fine, but not when you're dealing with 2.5 to 3 inch caliper trees, because the tree, along with the root system, is over 200 pounds. But what we're talking about this spring is to have some smaller plantings of maybe 100 trees, of maybe 1 inch caliper trees, and get the community involved. So we do have in these 39 areas where we're going to plant trees, we have a plan for each one. However, as I mentioned earlier, we already made some changes. And one of the smart things we did this time is that we have 500 trees that do not have a specific home. So over the next 4 or 5 years, as we modify the plan, we're going to be using some of those 500 trees and put them in various areas of the township. And of course, if you or your friends know of any public area that you think could use some more trees, just let us know, because we do have that flexibility now, which we did not have before.
Yeah, Jim, can I just ask how you're tracking the planting? Do you just mark it on a map?
Yeah, well, what we do is we have a map of every area in the township where the trees are going to be planted.
Okay.
The type tree, the species, but not the time and date. The time and date are literally going to be up to us. The 2016 plan took about maybe 6 or 7 years. We view this plan as taking only hopefully 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So
I'm just wondering if there are any digital tools that we can use to keep track of where we planted the trees, when we planted them, and so forth. Like, with Google Maps, you can pinpoint locations and keep a list of those locations. So
yeah, actually, Jim Majewski is a good point. Jim Majewski is supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
So we shall see. Any other questions?
Do
Or
we have
comments?
any thoughts on where to plant this spring, or is it pretty
That's
open
what-
right now? We should look at the planning, maybe come up with some.
What I was thinking, Alan, is that you and I and maybe any other interested people sit down.
Yeah.
And we have the map where the plants are going to be planted.
Mhm.
And it's not only trees, we're also talking 1,500 shrubs
Right.
and 1,500 perennials. So this is really a massive planting. And Cheryl, you might not know this, but taxpayers don't pay for these, developers pay for these. When a developer cuts down trees, there's a replacement ratio. For instance, if they cut down an 18-inch tree, they have to replace that with, I think it's 7 trees, 2.5 to 3-inch caliper. We put a value of $400 on a tree. So if they cut down an 18-inch tree, $2,800 goes into the tree bank. Right now, we have about, what, 350,000, I think,
Yeah, in that neighborhood, yeah.
in that neighborhood in the tree bank. So, and the EAC established this novel concept, I guess, in 2014. So, all right. So, yeah, that's a good question, Alan. I was thinking the very same thing. So I think you and I and anybody else should sit down, give our thoughts, and then sit down with Jim Majewski.
Yeah, that, the meadow at Memorial Park would be nice, that wildflower meadow.
I think so too. Yeah, and this is a new concept too. Before, we only planted trees and shrubs, but this time we're actually going to create a couple of meadows of wildflower plants, which I think will be really beautiful.
What about in Makefield? Is there, I mean, should somebody say where the trees should be planted? I mean,
Yeah, we already have in the plan, it has specific locations
okay.
for all the trees, except for the trees that are not committed, the 500, what did we call those? You remember the name?
There's a name and.
Yeah, okay, yeah, well,
The free agents?
Yeah.
free agent trees,
Independent
Yeah.
trees.
something like that, or
Yeah.
residual, I forget, but we
Anything-
did have a name for them.
Anything in Macclesfield, you gotta run by the sports league.
Right,
so,
that's what.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's been an issue too. But anyway, but the bottom line is in the next 4 or 5 years, come hell or high water, we're going to plant all these trees.
Reserve trees?
Reserve.
Yeah.
All right, Alan, you get the award tonight too. But then again, you are younger than me. Okay, so your memory should be better. All right, any other questions on that topic?
Yeah.
Not, we'll move on. Recycling, next recycling event is January 11th. That's in 2 days. So Alan, you want to
36
talk a little
hours.
about that?
Yeah, it's still on. I've heard some grumblings that it's gonna be too cold and, Steve Myers, I won't mention names, but Steve Myers, he's one of the volunteers. I'll try to get him to still come. But yeah, if anybody can come, it'll be a help. If you get cold, you can come inside the building and warm up and come back out. It's not like you're outside for the 2 hours.
Yeah, you can come inside and actually join me because due to my advanced age and the fact that I am an expert at tying bundles, I get to sit inside, okay? And I thought that was the cake job, but last time we actually ended up with 116 50-gallon bags, and I had no chance to rest at all. So, and as far as the cold is concerned, everybody knows that the EAC people are very macho.
We're stupid and one or the other.
At what time is it?
10 o'clock, 10 to noon, just 2 hours. It flies by really fast. You'd be
But
amazed.
do you think that there will be fewer people coming with styrofoam because of the
That-
weather?
That's the $1,000,000 question. And I'll give you an answer at noon on Saturday. Okay. Yeah. Are you going to be able to make it, Cheryl, you think?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think you'll find it interesting because, yeah, you're a rookie. So.
Yeah, it's actually a fun outing, I think. And I think the people are going to be bringing this stuff regardless of the weather because they save up for it. They
Yeah.
know that we have 3 or
It's in the
4
garage
meetings a
and
year.
Got to get rid of it.
I mean, so,
Would you not tell her that it's a fun thing?
It is. Oh, it's a blast.
and if I told her the truth, she won't join us, okay?
Right.
Listen,
So-
remember, I worked for a recycling company.
Yeah.
I
we
have been to
know.
these events. They're,
Yeah.
I would not say they're fun.
You'd be
They're very
checking every
important.
piece of-
It's very rewarding.
Checking every piece of recycling that the
Yeah.
people bring.
Yeah.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the single trash hauler analysis. The final report was sent to the Board of Supervisors. And Alan, you want to talk to that a little?
Yeah, I sent everybody a copy, the copy or the version in December. I added some good suggestions from Cheryl, put that in there. And then also more on the extensive damage caused by garbage trucks on our local roads. Because I started looking into that. It was amazing. They're the heaviest truck on the roads, regularly on our roads, heavier than school buses, UPS delivery trucks, all that stuff. And we're spending over $2 million on road repaving this year. So it seems like this would be one way to reduce the repaving costs to the township. And we could use that money for other things such as open space. But we added that to this. And at some point, Jim and I are going to make a presentation to the supervisors. And Cheryl, you can come too if you want. I mean, you know a lot about this. And run it by them and tell them the facts, and then they'll make the decision on what they want to do. But right now, there's no date. It could be as early as next Wednesday, or it could be March. Who knows? One of these days we'll do it, though.
Right. Well, you, when you sent it out to them, you asked what date I think would be
Yeah,
appropriate.
well, I just said we're available, including January 15th.
Okay.
And I know I saw something on Facebook about what they're doing at the January 15th meeting. This would probably come under land reviews, but there's going to be a hearing for the luxurious doggy daycare and boarding. They're thinking about putting in near where the Bright Farms was,
Okay.
the greenhouses. It wouldn't be on Patterson Farm. It would be next to it, near that
Daycare center?
daycare center, right. And they have to get some sort of special exemption zoning. And apparently those go through the supervisors and not the zoning board. So there's going to be a hearing on that on January 15th on whether they get the zoning change before they put in their application. They haven't put in an application for development yet. But that might affect whether they want us to.
Well, that might be a very long discussion. So.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It might be though. You never know.
Yep.
No. Well, yeah, hopefully we'll talk about the trash thing and go from there.
Yeah, I might
When are
add
you going
also that, oh, I'm sorry, did you say?
When are you going to know if it's going to be at the meeting or not?
Ask Dan Grenier. He would know. Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't hear from him in a week, we will,
Well,
bug him.
The agenda comes out for the January 15th meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll know tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
One other thing to think about, I know you and I, Alan, talked through some devil's advocate sort of issues. One other thing that some townships have done in other states as well is have a host municipality fee. So if we can't get to a single hauler, you charge the haulers who are working on some sort of rate, whether it's per customer, per tonnage, whatever it is, a rate for the municipality that goes back and helps pay for that road work.
All that damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least cover that part. It certainly doesn't address the reduction in emissions from trucks all over the township. But I think there are, again, playing devil's advocate, if people push back, there are things that we can put in as, baby steps inching towards that concept of whether it's route optimization, they have to report how many miles, they have to report if they're using electric vehicles. Maybe we push them to using alternative vehicles as a requirement. Again, just playing devil's advocate that people might push back.
All right. And I'm also might add, some of you were around about 12 years ago. And if you were, you would have witnessed a horror story when we first tried to introduce the concept of single trash hauler. So we've been on top of this for a long time. And we think it should have happened then, but for a variety of reasons, it didn't. And one of these days we'll sit down and all have a cup of coffee and Al and I will explain to you exactly what happened. However, this time, the thought came from the board itself. And they asked us to look into it again. So I think we have a board now that's more receptive. I think the overall climate is more receptive too. So hopefully, we're just not going to spin our wheels this time. The last thing I would want to mention is Alan, he did a superb job on this, and it took a lot of time. And the board, I mean, the EAC deeply appreciates your work on this, Alan.
Had some help, and that's appreciated too.
All right, any other comments? All right, the next item,
Sorry, just one more question. Is there going to be a public meeting from the Board of Supervisor about?
Possibly. What'll happen is we'll come and make a presentation and say, these are your choices. This is what we think you should do.
Mhm.
And they'll say, okay, okay, let's go with that. And then they'll have probably a public meeting later on after that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is kind of a complicated situation. There's a lot of different ways to do this. What we're doing is we're giving the Board of Supervisors our best thoughts on the topic. And then it's basically up to them. We didn't lay out every option because we wanted to make the report 10 pages and not 50 pages. So hopefully they'll come to a decision. It wouldn't surprise me if it took them maybe several months and meetings on this topic themselves. And I'm not sure, is this something that they could talk about in executive meeting? Probably not. I guess it would have to be public.
Well, legality parts of it maybe, but yeah, most of it will have to be
Yeah.
open, and it should be. I mean,
Yeah, I think so too. So it's going to be an interesting period, I think. All right, the next item on the agenda is Birdtown update. Is there any update, Jeanne, or anything? No. Okay. The update on land use plans. Now, you also did talk about that plan for the kennel, not the kennel.
Luxury
Dog.
kennel, I'm calling it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to be real high end. But yeah, that's like I said, it's still got a ways to go. They submitted a sketch plan to the Planning Commission maybe 6 months ago and talked about, the parking and how the buildings and all that. But they need this special, I think it's the special exemption for the zoning. But once they get that, if they get that on next Wednesday, then we'll probably see a preliminary plan for it, and we'll know a lot more about it. I don't know how many trees are taken down and all that, but there are a lot of trees around.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, there's a little space of property between Bright Farm and the daycare. And I think, isn't that what they're talking about?
The person that owns the daycare also owns all that property up until Patterson Farm. Now, Bright Farms was on Patterson Farm.
Right.
Yeah. So it comes up to almost that tree line where the fields start, it's in there somewhere, the property line, and they want to put it next to the daycare center.
So I guess they would have to purchase the property, or maybe the present owners are the ones who want to put it up. Well, personal opinion though, there's probably as many dogs in Lower Makefield Township as there are people. And if you're going to put in a facility like that, that to me would seem like an appropriate place because there's no residences near or anywhere else. But we'd have to take a look at the plans.
There's is it a memory care facility?
Right across the street, yeah.
Yeah, and then, the daycare place. And it is close to Patterson Farm. It'd be nice if you had a buffer, but that's.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's going to be interesting though.
And this would be the dog park you're talking about, right?
No dog park. No, this is a private company.
A kennel?
Yeah, the
Oh,
little board
okay.
dogs, and you can daycare your dog there also.
I see.
And they might have a little shop with selling pets.
Dog biscuits and bones.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting too, because there is a facility similar to that in the area called Four Paws, but they don't, I'm not sure if they board dogs or not, but interesting tidbit, my wife was actually one of the founders of Four Paws. a couple of years ago. So anyway,
Hidden talents.
All right.
that's right.
There's one more land development, so.
Yeah, I'm going to say that proposed wastewater treatment.
Yeah, I don't know if people have heard of this.
No.
It's in Newtown Township, and it's Newtown Bucks County Joint Municipal Authority is proposing to build a $128 million wastewater treatment facility there. It's on 17 acres, and it's right off of Newtown Bypass. It's about maybe a mile west of Wegmans. So it's close to us, but not real close, but it's on the border of Middletown Township. So those
Really?
people are really upset about it.
Huh.
They had a hearing, Middletown had a hearing about it and nobody liked it.
Why,
So-
what were their opposition points, just out of curiosity?
Mainly the smell. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Wastewater facilities, there's no way around it. I mean, you can't avoid it.
I mean, when you go by the one over in New Jersey by 195,
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
I know. I mean, I have no sense of smell.
Yeah.
But when my kids and my wife, we go down the shore to Belmore, they always make a comment about the
Yeah,
smell.
yeah.
Maybe if they called it something.
Yeah, a flower factory or something. Yeah.
What's that saying? A rose by any other name is still a rose.
Yeah, so it's in the initial steps now, so we'll see what happens. I'll follow it and let you know
Mhm.
if anything
But
develops.
Middletown is up in arms on it.
Yeah, they don't like it. It's in Newtown Township, like I said, so it's be one of those cross-border fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate because, sewer waste, you have to get rid of it, but basically nobody wants it in their backyard. So because from what Alan said, no matter what they do, there's always an odor that comes out of these plants. And I'm a big biker, and a lot of times I bike the canal into Lambertville. And when you get about a mile from the town, you pass a plant, and it's always a bit ripe.
Yeah.
So the good thing
Alan-
on a bike is you can go real fast. by.
Alan, are they planning on trucking any waste in, or is it just from the township?
I think it's all gonna be piped in,
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
trucking it, yeah.
Yeah, if
Really?
you bring it in from trailers or construction
That's
sites,
another source.
That's
of
another-
odors For you.
Well, that
That'll
just
fit.
adds more to the roadways, and
yeah.
then, people have
Yeah,
pushed back in
right.
the past with congestion on the roads and so forth.
Yeah.
Right, they say the method they're gonna use, and I never heard of it, but I don't think anybody else would have heard of it too, but, if anybody wants an article on it, I can email.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay, all right,
You just want to send it around to the group and
Yeah.
okay,
email?
all right,
the
Does
link?
Middletown have an EAC?
yeah,
They do, and I know Newtown used
yeah.
to.
yeah, they quoted one of the EAC members in the article.
Also, how does Middletown get rid of their sewers? Do they have their own sewer plant? I mean, I could see something like this if it were big enough servicing maybe both municipalities.
You, ours goes to.
Marsville, I think.
Yeah, with Phyllis Hill. This, I think, has been sent to the Philadelphia sewage treatment place, but it's starting to get overloaded, the pipes and stuff, so that they need another place to treat it. And this was somebody's idea.
Yeah, we just sold our sewer lines, but where do we pipe it to now? What is Aqua? Is it
Same place.
Philadelphia?
No,
Oh, Morris-
Bucks
Morrisville.
to Morrisville? Municipal Waste Authority?
They
Really?
have One, you know where the little dog park is in Morrisville? If you go further.
Yeah. I mean, with John Lewis and Grenier, we took a tour of the thing. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where it goes.
yeah. That always make me think of Norton from the Honeymooners, when he used to came out with all his gear. He worked in the sewer system there. That's how old it is.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the proposed single-use plastics ban. And I can give you a little information on that. I talked to John Lewis, and I also talked to Dan Grenier. And they, let me just say, they are receptive, okay? So, but what they are interested in doing right now is finishing up with a stormwater management revision and also the single trash hauler proposal. And once those are done, I think hopefully we can move full speed ahead on single-use plastic. You know, the more I read about that, you know, it's insane not to do something like that. The unfortunate thing right now is that, like the cigarette industry did for many, many years, the plastics people are fighting back. And this is unfortunate to the extent that, you know, a lot of people read these arguments that are not well-founded and spout them off as truth. But the cigarette industry, if you remember 30 or 40 years ago, was telling people, oh, you can smoke 10 packs a day and it's not going to bother you. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And the same thing really holds true here. So I'm an avid supporter of this, and I hope we can really move fast on it after these other items are have taken place.
Can we start on some things beforehand? Or?
You can do before.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, Dominique and Cheryl and my wife Jeanne were talking about getting together.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the preparation of some kind of an action plan or steps. So that's when we get to go ahead. I mean, the Army's already. So, and I think that would be a good preliminary step. And also, I intend to talk to Dan Grenier and John about this. Now, John Lewis is going to be our EAC liaison next year. And I think that's a very positive step. Did I say next year?
Mhm.
We're
We're already
right,
in this.
we're in this
next
year already.
Yeah.
Any other discussions?
I just had a question about the stormwater management. I mean, have you guys been involved in any of that review or no?
Yeah, Alan has. Alan, do you have
Stormwater management, oh, that it's.
the revision?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to revise, so they, after the flooding in, what was the name of the?
Maple Glen.
Maple Glen.
Yeah, there was concern that our stormwater management ordinances weren't strong enough. So they hired a consultant, HRG, I think was the consultant, and they proposed two sets of ordinance changes. Phase one were the simple ones that they already passed and are in there, and they're really good. They really strengthen our ordinances. And now this is a second set that it's more expansive and does some more different things, makes them stronger. It did kind of backslide on some of the phase one changes that they had made, and I pointed that out in my comments to them. But I think they want to get this through before some big developments come into the township.
Okay.
And I guess there's some.
Yeah, and again, before we have another catastrophe like happened a year and a half ago up in Upper Makefield, I think the basic problem is because of climate change, the whole ground has changed as far as the stormwater management field is concerned. And a lot of these municipalities are scurrying now to come up with new verbiage so that they can basically be modern and also maybe avoid some nasty lawsuits along the way. We did have in Lower Makefield a very comprehensive stormwater management ordinance that was promulgated at the end of 2006, and it was called Low Impact Development. And at the time, it was very, very cutting edge. And we're still basically using that. I think we're just basically adding some other good elements based upon the expertise that's been developed between 2007 and current.
Yeah, they came out with a draft of the phase two changes, and we met, I don't know what it was, maybe in, I guess it was December. We met on it, and I don't know what the final's going to look like yet, what's going to go before the board, but it'd be on the 15th, I guess. Who knows? Well, that's it. I know Dan wanted to move it fast, so.
Yeah, well, this is something you can't, I don't think, dilly-dally around with. I mean,
We have
it's really important for the safety and protection of all the people in the township. So I think we should move quickly on it. The next item on the agenda is the EAC Lecture Series. And I've been trying to get in touch with Mike Wheelbacher. We had him once before give a lecture on monarch butterflies that was absolutely superb. And he's the director of the Schuylkill Environmental Center. He's a noted lecturer and author. And I might have mentioned this once before, but he gives a talk on Valentine's Day, basically about how the birds and the bees do it, and insects and other creatures like that. I'm sure he doesn't get into human anatomy. That's a whole other different subject. But anyway, I thought that would be very, very appropriate. It's only a month away. I was thinking like February 15th, which is 5 weeks. So if I can't hear from him in the next day or two, I think we might have to bag it. But I just think it's such a good idea, though.
If anybody has any ideas about what we could, what lectures they think people might want to see.
Have you done, I'm sure you have done this, native species planting?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Okay. How about
On native?
native plant species? Like maybe inviting Bowman's Tower or somebody from Bowman's Tower to come down and talk about.
He happens to be a naturalist.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I also was one of the principal authors of our native plant ordinance that was finished in April of 2007. And I've lectured extensively to other municipalities and other areas, throughout the county. And I'm actually going to be giving a lecture as part of the Winter Lecture Series in Bowman's Hill. Each year from January to February on successive Sundays, they give lectures based upon some environmental topic. And so I'm going to be giving one on our native plant ordinance. It's called 18 Years and Counting because it's been in since 2007. And Alan and I did a rough calculation not too long ago, and we figured that because of this ordinance, over 10,000 native plants were planted in Lower Makefield Township that never would have been planted. So this should give everybody in the EAC the warm fuzzies, I think. So,
but I wonder if not everybody in the township knows anything, a lot about native plants. I wonder if it would bring,
Refresh.
to bring some
could be.
people in.
And we can find somebody on the outside, or I can give a lecture.
We had 4 women that did a presentation over at the community center, and it was very, very well attended.
Yeah.
And that was basically their home gardens that were composed of native plantings. So,
When was that?
but like
That
Jeanne
was
said,
quite a few years ago. Yeah.
like Jeanne said, we're always looking for pertinent topics. We also can pay to have good people here. In the past, we've had Mike McGrath from You Bet Your Garden,
Oh, yeah.
that NPR guy, which is pretty zany. We've had
Doug Talman.
Scott Wiedensall, who is a noted author and an expert on bird migration. We've also had Doug Talamy, who is literally the guru of the native plant movement in the United States now. So let's get all our heads together, think of some good lectures. And I don't want to say money's no object, but we do have money to pay lecturers.
I could consider doing something on universal waste and the importance of universal waste recycling, whether it's, aerosol cans, whether it's batteries, computers, all of that. Kind of outline what is universal waste, what are the best ways to get rid of it, here are your options, this is why.
Excellent.
That would be great.
Well, I think
be
that would
awesome.
be an ideal topic. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
It was.
And do you have
was a
some kind
piece
of
in the
a rough outline or?
Yeah, and actually I have a couple universal waste experts that I can maybe invite that are nearby that could come in and do part of the lecture as well and talk about how they recycle it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds excellent. Yeah. Uh,
So, Cheryl, I've been thinking about, partially because we have the refillery now.
I'm sorry, what?
We have the refillery
Okay.
now. Yep.
Mhm.
And I started thinking that maybe we could do a no waste event, not limited to a lecture, but have people come in and who are into no waste. And so
Maybe towards Earth Day, maybe that's something we could, if the township could consider a little Earth Day activity event where we maybe invite the refillery. They can talk about their business, have a little stand out there, and then we can maybe find other vendors that are similar.
yeah, it sounds
Um,
good. When is Earth Day? Does any?
April, is it 15th? I always forget. I know that's
April
terrible.
22nd, somewhere around there.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
All right, yeah. that
Right after
sounds,
tax
that
day. Yes,
sounds
you're
good.
right.
Sounds good. So, I had a discussion with Paul. Paul has a commitment at 7:00. So,
Ah,
and also,
hi,
if we
Paul.
want a last article in the newsletter about the upcoming, well, it's 2 days. I guess we could probably send one out tomorrow as a reminder.
It is the 22nd.
Okay. Well, yeah, the only issue with that is, on the 11th, I think, is Arbor Day. Well, I don't know, because I'm going to be talking about that next anyway, next item on the agenda.
Just one more thing. I wonder, does the guy from Penn Environment,
Farron, yeah.
yeah, fair. Does he do lectures? Well, he does do lectures.
Yeah, but on plastics,
Yes,
mostly on
but-
the moment, yeah.
so
But there was, Cheryl,
about
there was an article in the Penn Environment. Did you get the newsletter now about electronic?
I didn't reach out to him yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but if you
I
get the
read the
newsletter,
article, yes.
they every week get something about electronic recycling, how important it
Mhm.
is. So I'll look for it and send it to you. But yeah, I've contacted Farron.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than though, a formal lecture, I think something like that would be most appropriate for him to present to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, so.
So,
that's
and that
great.
can be part of
Right.
what you're talking about with the
Mhm.
single-use plastics.
Yeah, and for the Earth Day sort of thing, it doesn't have to be on that day. It could be events sponsored by the EAC where, hey, go over to the refillery, check it out. Could go out in the newsletter, check out this reusable source. Here's a source of local handmade bags to use at the grocery store. It could be just a series of different things that people can explore during that time frame.
Sure.
The Earth Month.
Yes, it could very well be, yes,
Okay.
including Arbor Day.
Next item on the agenda is the Arbor Day plaque preparation. We had our first Arbor Day on November 9th of 2024. And that was actually the last requirement to become a Tree City USA. And I talked to the person who actually reviews the applications, and he said everything A-OK with Lower Makefield Township. He's the state, not the state, he's the county forester for Bucks and Lehigh counties. His name is Harris Nowatarski. And I got that right too, because I practiced. And anyway, after he reviews, it goes to the state forester, and that's a woman, I forget her first name is Celine, I think. And that's pretty pro forma by the time she gets it. She just kind of looks it over and then sends it to the Arbor Day Foundation. And once they get it, they basically don't have any questions. And they announce all the new tree cities around March 1st. It's kind of a strange procedure, but if you want to join, that's what you have to do. Yeah. And then we did have the first Arbor Day presentation on November 9th, and we planted a beautiful maple tree in the front of the administration building, a cultivar called Red Sunset, which I have been told is the most magnificent red that you will ever see in a tree. However, those are merely words we will have to observe next fall, okay? Now, that was tree number one. What we're thinking of doing is every Arbor Day, putting in a new tree at some public area in the township and having some group, let's say third grade students from Pennsbury in this one class did some neat environmental project. So we will dedicate the tree to that specific group. And each year, something appropriate. The next tree will be marked as tree number 2, and the species will be noted. And obviously, they will all be native trees. And each will have a plaque. Now, I'm trying to get a plaque made right now. We did have one made for the magnificent cucumber magnolia up in Patterson Farm. And it's gorgeous. It was about 17 by 14. It had a little bump out with a tree on it, and it's magnificent. So I forget how much we paid for that. But so right now I'm dealing with the people in Awards and More up in Washington Crossing. And we're almost at the end point of her sending it out for an estimate. Now, the thing is, these things could be $400 or $500. I don't know. Because they're metal, they last forever. So we'll see when we get the final estimate, whether Dave chokes on it or not.
Good visibility location.
Good visibility. That's the way I see it. Well, I mean, look, we have a budget of $4,000, but you know, we certainly don't want to be frivolous with our expenses. But something like this, I think, firstly, it signifies a lot about the quality of life in this township, I think, that we're willing to do something like this. So we'll see what it's going to cost. And
Where is it going to be? Where is it going to go?
it's going to go right in front of the tree.
Oh, okay, yeah. But so you're not talking about Tree City, right?
Well, it's related to Tree City. Are you going to mention Tree City?
Well,
But-
no, we're not going to mention Tree City because Tree City is actually an affiliate or a product of the Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay. Mm.
They are actually not owners, but I don't know how organizationally it
Mm.
works.
Right.
Tree City, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have, we will
So
not
where-
have Arbor Day signs.
No.
Tree City is related to Arbor Day. It's not going to say anything about Tree City. It'll say something about, I should have brought a copy of the verbiage. Lower Makefield Township, Arbor Day celebration, November 9th, 2024.
Mhm.
This tree is dedicated to all the volunteers and staff of Lower Makefield Township through whose hard work and dedication have made Lower Makefield Township a good place to live. That's roughly paraphrasing it.
Not great place to live?
Great. I said good. It actually says great. Thank you for correcting me, Alan. So, and everybody, you know, we had a little ceremony at that time and everybody thought that was a super idea. But, you know, I mean, I think it's very, very appropriate for our first Arbor Day to celebrate the staff of our township and all the volunteers who do make this a great place to live.
Okay.
And the second one will have verbiage based upon the group that's
Sure.
going to be dedicating the tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the first celebration was November 9th, but Dave asked me, do you want to use that date moving forward? And I think it's more appropriate to use the official quote unquote date for Arbor Day. Every state can actually come up with any date that they want. But the national is generally on, I think, April 11th. You could probably check that out with your April 11th.
Could be very well right.
All right, well, when you guys are looking at that, I think we can move on. As soon as I get the information back from Nicole, I'll send it out. April, I said 11th?
It's only 4 days.
Yeah.
We can have something in between the two.
Yeah. All right, well, look, I was close. I was only a week off. Come on, that's pretty good for, for an older guy. All right, as soon as I get the information on the plaque, I'll send it out.
Talking about yourself being old because
People might start believing it.
I start thinking you're old.
young were
All right, the next item is the Environmental Stewardship Award plaque and award ceremony. I'm trying to find out now the appropriate organization that should be recognized. Our member Soumya is not here tonight, Soumya Dharmavarnam, and her daughter was actually instrumental in starting this project. So there's 3 groups involved. She was a member of the Key Club, and then there's also a second group, I forget the name of it, and a UNICEF group. But when I talked to Soumya, she thinks it would be most appropriate to, no, the main group is the Key Club. Key Club, that was the main group. So I'm trying to get in touch with the teachers now. And I just emailed them today who are head of the Key Club and then just talked to them about the logistics. Generally, the ceremony takes place the second BOS meeting in February or the first meeting in March, whatever the board prefers, and that's fine with us. So we will have more time to discuss this before the actual award ceremony takes place. And I'll also come up with some appropriate wording for the plaque. But we basically use the same plaque each year, and it's really nice. They do a really good job on it. It's kind of engraved in a nice walnut background, I think. So anyway, as soon as I have more information on that, I'll send it out to everybody. Any other?
Can I make a
discussion?
suggestion?
Pardon?
Can I make a suggestion on
Of
that?
course.
While the plaque is nice, let's think about sustainability,
About the what?
sustainability of that.
Right, okay.
It's going to end up in somebody's closet, long-term. And it
No,
will not.
actually-
Mom and dad will have to claim that later on and deal with it.
See, it's actually not given to an individual. It's a club. And I know
Right.
we've actually done this for Pennsbury before for other specific projects.
Would they put it up
And
at the
they
school?
put it on the school and
Okay.
hang it up, okay, in a
Okay.
permanent place. So,
Okay, just a thought.
good suggestion. All
all your thoughts are good.
right.
Be on the rock.
I
right.
could polish a rock for them, yeah.
I forgot when you asked about Birdtown, just one thing that's happened with Birdtown is that Carol Mahoney
Yeah.
got it. We have now a bird of the month for this year. And we have a picture of a different bird each month and a write-up about it. And Carol Mahoney, who lives in Stack
My
House,
street.
but anyway, she would kindly took care of that for me. So if you all look at yeah, did you
Yeah,
see it?
yeah,
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 it's,
I saw it, yeah.
did you see it?
Where is it?
It's
It's on the
uh,
LMT website under
Information.
Under
information.
information and also, well, LMT, yeah, that organ. And then it's also on the website of Lower Makefield Township is a great place to live.
Lower Makefield is a great place to live. I couldn't find it when I Googled it.
Oh, you couldn't?
Don't have-
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't either, but.
I'm still having issues trying to get on LMT is a great place to live, the website. I'm on Facebook. I did everything I was supposed to do and it didn't work. And I finally called up Becky Caccini, who was one of the stewards of that. And she said that it's strange, but she will look into it. So I'm going to find out and see what happens. Right. All right, we have to move forward. We're hitting 7 o'clock. EAC and Township newsletters. Paul, we'll send out one tomorrow if you want, Alan, about the January 11th, last minute. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and there's not, we have really nothing coming up in the immediate
Right.
next month or two, so.
Okay,
Next month.
all right, odds and ends, open space, Alan.
Nothing new, I'm gonna look at some of those properties that we recommended. Like 6 properties, see if there's any of them for sale or anything. About it, but yeah, I mean, the referendum passed and hopefully that'll light a fire under more active. They have to be proactive. Wow.
Okay. The other item is solar in Lower Makefield Township, but Kevin is not here.
Properties, or was it- can't remember if
Before
you
you
did.
join. I can send
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, again, the last item in odds and ends is solar in Lower Makefield Township. Update, Kevin is supposed to be dealing with Dave Kratzer, our township manager, about the possibility of getting grants and putting up some kind of solar display in Lower Makefield Township.
Have you heard anything about that?
No,
No.
no, that's why I was asking for an update, but Kevin is not here, so no update. Anybody else have anything at all that they want to discuss? Okay, so this meeting is officially ending at 7:05. And thank everybody for coming. I think we got a lot
I
done.
just want to say I can count to 5. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, you
What
just,
was I thinking there
you just
were?
didn't want Jim
Oh.
to be chair. You're just fine. Any technicality.